Say what? I'd like to start off by saying Barakateh Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is basically Say What? I was watching the video that Elder Pastor Tahar was speaking about the breakdown of Revelation, the 12th chapter, of this one individual that's been in the truth for years, many years. And I try to watch, because I'm watching it in parts. It's only so much of it you can watch. So I watched like almost 20 minutes earlier, and I watched almost to the 40-minute mark around there, and he was saying these things, man. He was just saying these things that's just crazy. But it's so much, because like Elder Pastor said, he started off good, but then he just quickly went left. And one of the things he was saying was that when you read in Revelation 12 here, Revelation 12:3, and there appeared another great wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. He said this great red dragon is Satan, the spiritual demon Satan. Then it seemed like the spirit was working with him for a moment, not the Satan, spiritual demon Satan, but like the spirit was giving him the right direction, because he said, why is he red? So he said, when you go back to the beginning, Cain was a murderer, basically saying blood is not, is not, it's nothing to him, they don't mind shedding blood. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's coming right back to the right proper breakdown. Then he goes right back to the Satan thing, the spiritual demon Satan. Then he also said that Satan, ever since Yahushua sat on the right hand of the Most High, Satan is no longer in that realm. He's still in the heavens, but he's in another realm of heaven. And I'm like, say what? Look, the Most High sits, and then he has his council. He has the angels on the right hand and the angels on the left hand side. And we read about that in the book of Kings, and that has never changed. The Most High created both good and evil. He's the one that sanctioned Satan to put hell on Job, So Satan, which is a son of the Most High, pursuant to Job, the 1st chapter and the 2nd chapter, is still up there in the heavens with him, on the left-hand side. Because you have the right-hand angels and you have the left-hand angels, and they are both created by the Most High, and they're both up there. But he's saying, I didn't even get to the part where he called himself breaking down the 7 heads and 10 horns, which I heard Elder Pastor say that he was saying that those are 7 antichrists, or 7 different antichrists. And then he goes on to say pretty much that I believe it was Revelation 17, and where it says that they shall hate the whore. He said that's talking about the Roman Catholic Church. I was like, oh Lord. So what I just want to do is just and he also said that the Apostle John, when he said that he was in the Spirit, doesn't mean like when you're in the Spirit, when the Holy Spirit is upon you. He was actually in the spirit realm, in the spirit world. I was like, what? So I don't know what's going on, but, it just seems like these teachers out there, going back to the One West Day, they're waxing worse and worse, with their breakdowns. But anyway, what I want to tackle with Lord's will is I want to just hit the point of the 7 heads and 10 horns, to prove that this great red dragon is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan, because the spiritual demon Satan does not have 7 heads or 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And this is key to understanding what this is speaking about. And this great red dragon, which is also spoken of here in the 7th verse, when there was war in heaven, is speaking about the same thing, and it's not speaking about the spiritual demon Satan. So let's read these 2 verses, and then let's jump to another precept where we can get some understanding and some clarification as to what this is. Let's go back. Just a couple of precepts coming to mind I want to just pull up real quick. Okay, so let's go with Revelation 12:3. It says, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon." This great red dragon is a representation of the Roman Empire, but it's really Salaka, the great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, are the empires, the 7 major empires of Esau with their allies. Today, you would say America and her allies, which are these European Union nations like the EU and NATO. You know, back then they had ancient names that they were going under that, you know, were working in tandem with the Roman Empire. Today, the revival of it would be America would be considered like the new Rome, and then those European nations, you know, the EU, that would be the 10 horns. The 7 heads is a representation of the 7 major empires of Esau that ruled, beginning with the Greeks. You had the Greeks, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germania Major, Germania Minor, and Britain. Those are the 7 heads. And the reason why I said that they were red is because who they are. They're the Edomites. Same thing with Revelation, the 6th chapter, the great, you know, the red horse. It's the same thing, dealing with the same exact thing. It's the same story told in different ways, with using different symbolisms, different allegories, so on and so forth. So, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. So when we read the scriptures break down who this is. But let's deal with the great red dragon first. Revelation chapter 20, verse 1, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the keys of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years." This is dealing with Esau. You know, there was a seal put upon them for a period of 1,000 years, beginning, you know, with the downfall of Esau and the ending of the 1,000 years. You could say it was around the 1300s into the 1400s. You know, that's when Esau was let out of prison. And when you research the Renaissance, some sources say it started around the 1300s going into the 1400s. You know, so that was a time when that prison sentence or that dark cloud was taken away from Esau, and they were able to, to get back up into power and to deceive the world. Around the time of, Constantine, you know, around 325 AD, you know, that would be about a period of 1,000 years. But Esau fell way before, 325, because 325 AD, Constantine, those were all Jakes. You know, the last Edomite emperor that ruled was Domitian, and his rulership was up somewhere either in the 90s, late 90s into the 100, around 90 something AD. I would have to check the dates to make sure the exact year that Domitian was taken out of power or killed or whatever the case is. But that was the end of the Edomite rulers, But the Roman Empire still Jake continued that Roman Empire until Constantine, which they introduced Christianity to the empire, but it was more like lightly veiled paganism. All right, so this is dealing with this is dealing with Esau. This is not dealing with the spiritual demon Satan. It calls him the dragon. It calls him that old serpent, going back to the garden, which was an actual man in the garden, which is the devil and Satan. Devil, deceiver, slanderer, Satan, adversary. And Esau is the main adversary to the Lord and bound him 1,000 years. Now, when we go to 1 John, the 3rd chapter, the 12 verses, it's not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. So Cain was of that wicked one. You know, and we know that the scriptures say, let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 58 and 3, the wicked are estranged from the womb. So who are the wicked according to the Bible? The Edomites. So the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. So if you're speaking lies, that makes you what? The devil. And that's who they are. They're the devil and Satan. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth their ears. So going back to Revelation 12 and 3, and there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon. This great red dragon is talking about Esau. Back then you had the Roman Empire that was in power, but the great red dragon with the 7 heads and 10 horns is a representation of all 7 empires of Esau's rulership with their allies. Back then they had ancient names. Today they have more modern day names, which is the EU. And then you have the beast, which is also the EU and NATO. You know, so it all ties together. Right. So now before I go into this next part to prove that this is talking about this was talking about the Roman Empire back then, because that was the head that was ruling at the time. Let's go to Revelation 17 and let's go to the 9th verse. Because the 9th verse breaks down the mystery of the 7 heads and 10 horns, you know, which was used by the Apostle John to describe this great red dragon. We read Revelation 17 and 9, and here is the mind which has wisdom. So the angel was breaking it down to the Apostle John as to what was going down. And he's explaining to him what this vision and this beast that he saw represented. Just like when you go back to Daniel the 7th chapter, when the Lord showed Daniel these 4 beasts, they were actual beasts that he saw, but they represented empires. And when you jump down to around the 17th verse, it breaks down that those 4 beasts are 4 major empires, you know, that were ruled. So it says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. See? So the 7 heads are 7 mountains, which are governments, on which the woman sitteth. And who is the woman? America. Because America came out of that union of the 7 heads, you know, beginning with the Greeks, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germania Major, Germania Minor, and Britain. And America is the 8th head. And America is riding on that beast because they're the ones that are carrying America. See? It says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. But wait a minute, I thought that this was speaking about the spiritual demon Satan. When we read back here, the great red dragon having what? 7 heads and 10 horns. But here, it's telling us that these 7 heads are 7 mountains or 7 governments on which the woman sitteth, and there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, because by the time that John had this vision, you know, the head that was in power was who? The Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire had conquered the other 4, which was the Greeks, you know, the French, the Spanish. Well, actually, no, they had conquered all 5 of them, which in Germania Major and Germania Minor, they had conquered all of those regions at the time. It says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, right? Which I just mentioned the 5, and 1 is. So who is the one that is? That was the Roman Empire that was still in rulership at the time. It says, and the other is not yet come, which is who? Britain. It says, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space, because they didn't rule that long. Even though behind the scenes they're still running things, but really as an empire they don't have the influence that they once did. So we're reading here that this particular that these 7 heads, which we read up further up, let's see, right here, verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman, which is America, sit upon a scarlet colored beast. And this is again another symbolism of that great red dragon, scarlet colored beast, which is red, full of names of blasphemy, having what? 7 heads and 10 horns. And when we read down further, it tells us what these 7 heads and 10 horns represent. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, and we know that mountains in the scriptures, if it's not speaking about an actual mountain, it's speaking about different governments. They're known as mountains. You have something called the summit. It used to be the G8, now it's the G7, which is what all the top governments meeting together. And the summit, which is what it's called, is the peak or the top of a mountain. So it says, and there are 7 kings. So it's letting you know that when we read in Revelation 12, this great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about people. And that's why it says red. In Revelation 17, it calls them scarlet colored. So these are the major empires of Esau that have ruled on the planet Earth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and one is, which the one that is was the Roman Empire, and the other is not yet come, which was the British Empire. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And that's what they did. They continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, which is this is America, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, because America came out of those 7 heads. It says, and is of the 7, because they are part of that union. It says, and goeth into perdition, because America was slated for destruction. So the Lord used America to build everything up the way it is, to destroy it, because they're responsible for what you see going on around the world today. And all nations are following after the antics and the customs and the ways of America. All right. And then it goes on to say, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So we're reading all throughout here that this is talking about kings and rulerships and governments. This is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. Now they are of representation, a physical representation of the spiritual demon Satan, because they are the wicked. But this is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. So we read here, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. The reason why I said it was red is because Esau is red. Dragon is a representation of somebody that's cruel. That draconian way that they have about them. It says, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head, which we just read what the 7 heads are, or the 7 horns and the 7 heads. We just read what the Lord broke it down to the Apostle John, what this is a representation of. And it's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven. So now what is the 3rd part of the stars of heaven? Well, when you read the first verse, it speaks about 12 stars, a crown of 12 stars. Those 12 stars are a representation of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And we know that during the time when our Lord was on the scene, there was mainly 3 tribes there. You had a sprinkling of the other, but the major 3 that were there were the 3 tribes which are known as the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Yehoiada. You had Yehoiada, you had Benjamin, and you had Levi. Right? So the Roman Empire drew their tail and struck the 3rd part of the stars of heaven. When we read the book of Matthew, the 11th chapter, it says that from the time of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. So the violent taking it by force was the Roman Empire that had the iron grip, so to speak, over Israel, and had them as tributaries. That's why there were so many revolts, because of the taxation that was going on and the oppression. All right. It says, and they allowed us to keep our laws, statutes, and commandments, but they were heavy on that tax for the upkeep of their empire. And their empire was vast, and their military was vast, and they spent a lot of money. That's why they had to impose a lot of tribute. And that's why you had so many revolts. That was one of the main reasons there were so many revolts. It was because of the taxation. It says, and his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven. So this is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. This part here is talking about the Roman Empire that cast down Israel to the ground. And especially when you go up to 70 AD, 66 to 70 AD and beyond, to around 74 AD. They were wreaking havoc on Israel. It says, and did cast them to the earth. And that's exactly what happened. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And then when you go back to the time of, Yahushua, when he was born, you had Herod that was working for the Roman Empire because they set him up as a puppet king that was trying to destroy Yahushua. Because he found out through the wise men that the king of Israel was about to be born. And he got nervous about that. And he didn't want to allow that. So this is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. Now, when we jump down a little further, because Satan wasn't trying to destroy Yahushua. It was a Roman Empire that was trying to destroy Yahushua through Herod. And the Roman Empire had that iron fist up on the people. Right? And then when we jump down to the 7th verse, and there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. This is talking about the spiritual archangels, but that was Satan trying to put that word in my mouth. This is going to be Yahushua, Michael the archangel, and the angels, right, fighting against Esau and their military. With their jets and helicopters and so on and so forth, missiles and all of that. That is Esau's. Those are his angels, because the angels are known for what? For their strength. Scriptures speak about them that rejoice in my highness. Talking about the angels are pretty much the Lord's strength. That's another part of the Lord's military. Then you have Esau that has his jets, stealth bombers, his missiles. Those are his angels. That's his power. You watch the movie Saving Private Ryan. Towards the end of the movie Saving Private Ryan, you have Tom Hanks. He asked Matt Damon, when he heard the engines of certain airplanes, he said, "What are those?" And he said, "B something bomber, blah blah blah," whatever he called them. And then Tom Hanks said, "No, those are angels on our shoulders," because Esau is looking to his military and his that power, that might that he has, as being his protection. Just like we look to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai through the angels for our protection. Like the scriptures say, the angels of the Lord campeth around them that fear them. So this is what this is talking about. That war in heaven is talking about Yahweh Shai, Michael, and the angels fighting against Esau and his military. With the other nations involved. But Esau has one of the greatest militaries out there. It says, "And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven," meaning they were not able to rule on the planet in that heavenly state anymore. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, which we went back to the book of Revelation, the 20th chapter, and we read about that, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And this is why they teach about that Satan was kicked out of heaven. All right. And this is proof that when we read Revelation 20, where it speaks about the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, is the same thing as this, because this is saying the same exact thing. The dragon, the old serpent, called the devil and Satan. And this is all tied into who? To the 7 heads and 10 horns. So this great red dragon that we read about in the 3rd verse is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. And the scriptures are plain about it. So I don't know where this guy's getting these breakdowns from. I don't know if he's reading books that he's getting that from. But that was never taught back in One West. It was always taught that this great red dragon here was talking about Esau and his military, and their 7 major empires. And they would even go and name them. High Priest Ariel would, break it down. You had, back then they said one of the heads was Russia, which was off, but nevertheless, they knew it was a representation of Esau's major empires, going back to the Greeks, all the way up until the British. And then out of those 7 came who? The 8th, which is America. It's plain. It's plain of what it's talking about. So I don't know what that individual is speaking about. I couldn't stomach any more of that video, so I had to stop it there. Lord's will, I go back and watch some more, because, You know, got to try to stomach through it, just to see the madness that's being taught out there. But that's pretty much it. I mean, after watching this video and many other videos that we've done, because I didn't finish watching Elder Pastor's video he did earlier. I watched maybe like half of it, so I got to go back and finish watching it. But after watching these videos, if you can't get it, then it's not meant for you. There's nothing that we could say to make it any plainer or any clearer. So I just wanted to make a quick point on that. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.